So I said it going to the break. This UDFA class, they got to work. So they came out of the draft with 10 open roster spots. They've reportedly signed more than 10 UDFAs. So some of these guys, so you can sign a player to like a UDFA, the 3-year contract. You can also sign him to a tryout contract, which basically means he's going to go to rookie minicamp and nothing settled plus that. And then, guys can get signed out of rookie minicamp. Essentially, you get a full contract. A lot of these haven't been identified which is which, so keep that in mind. But the UDFA class right now, and there's been more signings coming in, so trying to stay up to date, but I believe this is everybody. QB Ben Woolridge from Louisiana, running back Lan Larison, UC Davis, fullback Brock Lampy, Northern Illinois, wide receiver Efton Chisholm, Eastern Washington, wide receiver Demir Blank Musee, Memphis, wide receiver Jeremiah Webb, South Alabama, tight end CJ Dupree, Alabama, tight end G. Scott, Ohio State, couple offensive linemen, Jack Conley, Boston College, Cole Burdrow, Merrimack, defensive lineman Willifred Pinay, defensive lineman Bryce Gagnius, edge rusher Elijah Ponder, linebacker Cam Riley, defensive backs Brandon Crossley, Josh Minkins, and Jordan Polk. And I think we got another one this morning. This is a rookie minicamp invite, fullback Dwayne Martin, Louisville. There are multiple players on that list that were expected to get drafted. There are multiple players on that list who will make this team. This is the UDFA class I put together as an ideal one before I get disappointed, usually. The highlights to me, Lan Larison, UC Davis, had over 2,000 all-purpose yards last year. Rushed for over 1,000 yards, and I think he had like 700 receiving yards at UC Davis. There's a Danny Woodhead comp there. He can be kind of a solid backup running back. He can back up both spots. Also is going to play on special teams. Efton Chisholm, slot machine. Plain and simple. Lines up in the 90% of his snaps are in the slot throughout his college career. Lines up in the slot, gets open, chain mover. Josh McDaniel's going to have a ton of fun with this guy. 120 catches for 1,300 yards in 12 games last year. The caller in the last segment talked about tight end. CJ Dupree. I was honestly surprised CJ Dupree did not get drafted. Of all the players on this list, I don't know that he has the best chance to make the team. He's up there. I don't know that he is the best just because of some of the other depth at the position, but he's a really good blocking tight end who flashed some kind of previously unknown athleticism at the combine, might have some receiving upside. He could have a role here. He's definitely an NFL player. We'll see if it's here. Brock Lampy. We knew they needed a fullback. He's a textbook McDaniels fullback. 6'1", 260, powerful. That guy can play. Josh Conley had some NFL looks. The guard from Boston College, he could fit in here. Honestly, the defensive guys, it kind of drops off defensively a little bit. But and then Ben Woolridge, the quarterback. We know they want a third quarterback on the roster. So he has a chance. So, 7-year college player experienced. It's a really impressive group. As impressive as the draft class is, the UDFA class, equally impressive. I think you're going to have multiple people. Lampy's going to make the team. There's a really good chance he's the fullback. I think he's probably the favorite just because they don't have anybody there. Dupree has a good chance. Larison has a good chance. I think Chisholm has a really good chance to be their slot receiver. Eventually, maybe not right away, but eventually he fits that McDaniels mold. And then Woolridge. All those guys can make the team.
What do you think of G. Scott? So you think
he didn't play a lot at Ohio State. I love what he brings to the table, just athletically.
That's what I was thinking. I think he looks like he could be, just hypothetically, if he makes the team, he'd be probably the most athletic tight end they have on the roster.
I really don't know. I don't think he ever caught more than 27 passes in a season, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I don't really know what he does other than be athletic. And that's not a bad thing. That's not, because they have time. They needed a long-term tight end. But that guy doesn't need to play right away. So maybe if they feel like that athleticism is something they can tap into, all right, we're going to keep him on the team. Or maybe he's on the practice squad and eventually moves up to the roster, right? But we're going to keep him around. We're going to work with him. And then, next year, if they feel like he's made good progress, maybe he becomes tight end too after Austin Hooper. I think it's essentially him and Dupree competing for that role. Again, the defensive guys, I don't stand out as much to me. Pinay, I believe I'm pronouncing that right, is interesting. Didn't start playing football till late. He's from France and attended high school over here in Connecticut, and he's kind of started to develop also as a tight end at one point. So that was interesting. Minkins has the safety from Cincinnati has some multi-positional ability, but it's really the offensive group. A lot of people expected Chisholm to get drafted. A lot of people expected Dupree to get drafted.
Mm-hmm.
Larison, people thought could be a draft pick just because of his production. And then Lampy was the second best fullback in the draft behind my guy, Robbie Oots, who went to Seattle, which is a great pick for them. But, like, there are guys here that these aren't guys that you were just scrambling to look up after the Patriots signed them. These were guys that were talked about as draftable players throughout the pre-draft process.
And real quick, with the what you said about the fullbacks, this kid being the second highest rated fullback in the draft, it seems like, the things are swinging back to, I would say, a running back heavy league. But more running backs coming off the board has become more of a premium position again. You would think naturally that there'd be more fullbacks because you need guys to block for all these running backs that are all of a sudden attractive and get in the league. And I'm kind of surprised at that. You're not seeing a premium on fullbacks since everybody's just running these single back formations or, multiple tight end sets and stuff like that. But you would figure to be more of a premium of a fullback. So I'm happy that the Patriots are addressing that and going back to a simple, okay, it's 3rd and 1. Let's get the fullback out here. We know what the deal is here. Let's be physical. But I thought there'd be more of a premium on fullbacks. And on the flip side, more running backs, more running game. I thought there'd be more of a premium on middle linebackers as well, because you're going to need guys to stop the run game. But it seemed to be more addressed to the interior. But I agree with you when it comes to Dupree, the kid from Alabama. And he showed flashes of athleticism during the season. There's one of the highlights that kept showing of the big play he got against Vanderbilt, where he just gets behind the coverage and he just takes off. But I think putting this kid in a situation with Drake May with a big target, plus his ability to block, is something I think Josh McDaniels would really love about him, his versatility at the tight end spot. So I agree with you, man. I think when these tight ends are going to make it, and again, trenches, tight end, fullback, I'm all here for it. So I'm excited to see it.
Again, I think multiple players on that list make the team.
Yeah.
I mean, Lampy, they need the fullback. So Lampy's right there. And I think Chisholm, Larison, and one of those tight ends. Dupree versus Scott could be a sneaky fun camp battle for the third tight end spot, Cerrone. I'm not going to lie.
Training camp's going to be fun, man.
Training camp is going to be a lot of fun. So we had to do a quick UDFA minute because that is, I mean, Tampa had a pretty good UDFA class. I haven't seen every team's, all their signings, so I'm not sure, but like that has to be up there